Hello lovely people, and welcome to this Procreate tutorial where I'll guide you through the simple yet powerful process of creating beautiful patterns just like this. First up, we'll dive into setting up a fan guide that will serve as the foundation for your masterpiece. Not only that, but we will also transform it into a stamp brush that you can use for all your future patterns. Next, I'll walk you through the art of sketching and colouring all within the confines of this handy guide, and then finally we'll take the last step together and create the repeat tile. And trust me, it's incredibly easy. And for those of you who are new here, I'm Mel Armstrong, a full-time illustrator, surface pattern designer and passionate online educator, here to empower creatives just like you. So before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any weekly videos. So let's get your iPad and Apple Pencil ready because the creative journey begins now. Okay, I'm starting off with a square canvas. If I go to my actions and canvas information and then dimensions, you can see I've got a 3000 by 3000 pixel 300 dpi canvas. So to start, I am just using the Monoline brush, and I just want to draw a circle as big as I can, but don't go off the edge. And then if you hold that down, then select the circle, and then you can release that. I'm just going to grab it by clicking on the arrow, and I want to make sure my snapping is on both my magnetics and the snapping. And then I can drag out these little blue dots here to the edge to make it the size of the canvas. Okay. And then we just need to duplicate that one. I want to move it to the left hand side down here. So I'm just going to drag it down and then drag it across, and it should snap into place. And then we can copy that one. So duplicate that layer. I'm going to rotate it to it's the opposite, and then drag it across. And now you can see we've got that fan shape there. We just need to remove the bottom bit. I'm just going to select the bottom layer, and then I'm going to use the selection tool, the rectangle, to select just the bottom half of it. And then we can use our 3 fingers to swipe down and cut it. And then we can just merge these together. And so now we have our fan guide that we can use to start creating our pattern. And to begin with, we just want to sketch it out in the middle of the fan. So what I'm going to do is put that layer onto multiply and reduce the opacity, and then I'm going to create another layer underneath. Then I'm going to use the 6B pencil, and I'm going to start sketching out my floral design. So the next step is to test that this works before going on to colouring it in. And before I do that, what we're going to do is move it to the corners. Now if I did that now, you can see how it's not actually selecting the whole square. So if I move it to the corner, it's not going to fit snugly over there. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is just do a little mark in each of the corners, and we can take these off later on. And then when I go to select it, it's selected the whole area. So now I'm going to duplicate that 4 times. And then the first one I'm going to put in the left top corner. So if I just drag it up, make sure you've got your snapping on, and then drag it across. And you can see it fits nicely over there. And then the next one we'll put in the top right. And then the bottom left. And one more in the bottom right. And there, that looks pretty good. If I take off my guide, that's going to look pretty good. You can see I've got the marks there, but we can remove those if I merge them all down and then delete that middle part there. And then the outside part on this, but that doesn't really matter because we are just going to colour this anyway. Okay, so now we're ready to colour it in. So I'm going to remove my outside edges, and we can actually get rid of that, we don't need it. And I'm going to change the blending mode to multiply and just lower the opacity, and then create another layer and put it below. And then I'm going to select some colours. I'm going to start with a navy blue, and I am going to use my texture brush to create the petals. And if you're interested in my brushes, you can click on the link below in the description to purchase them. And I'm just going to create another layer and do the inside of the petals. And then I'm going to put a layer at the bottom for the stems. And lastly, I need to add some detail. So on top of the center part, I'm going to create another layer, make it a clipping mask, and go back to my navy color and just do some little dots. I'm just going to fix up the middle part that hasn't quite gone out far enough. And I think we'll add a little bit of detail to the branches or the leaves. So I'm just going to create another layer on a clipping mask to the leaves, and then get my navy and add a little bit of detail. Okay. I'm going to start by grouping my illustration into a single group. I'm going to create a temporary background layer for the group just so that we can use that for the guide when we select it. So at the moment, as it happened in the sketch as well, it's not selecting the whole canvas and we need all of the canvas. So to get around that, I'm just going to create a new layer at the bottom of that group. And sometimes that can be tricky to do, so just going to move things around. Put that at the top. And then this one can be just an off colour, doesn't matter because I'll probably get rid of it at the end, or I might keep it, it looks quite nice. So now I can duplicate that whole group. And if you do run out of layers, you could also merge each group so you don't have so many layers. And then this first one I'm going to take to the top left hand corner. Actually, I will start with the top one so we can see what we're doing. And then the next one. Bottom left this time. And then the bottom right. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of all those background layers in each of the groups. So I'm just going to delete them. And I think we missed one somewhere there. Okay, now I want to test it to make sure it does repeat nicely. So to do that, I'm just going to use 3 fingers to swipe down and then select copy all, and then 3 fingers to swipe down again and select paste. And I'm going to put that layer up the top. So we can turn off these other layers and then duplicate that one. So we now just have 4 copies. And this time I want to reduce the size of it to the left-hand corner. And then the next one goes to the right corner, and then to the bottom left, and then the bottom right. And then you can see it repeats really nicely and you have a really well balanced pattern. So another little trick that I'm going to show you is to actually save the guide as a brush. So to do that, I'm just going to hide all of these and then turn on our guide. I'm going to increase the opacity to 100% and turn it back to a normal blending mode. I then want to copy, so I'll use 3 fingers to swipe down, select copy all, then go to my brush library, and you can see I have started one here as my practice one. I'm now going to create another one, so I'm going to hit the plus icon. Then we're going to go to shape, go to edit, import, paste, and then we want to invert it, so just tap with 2 fingers and then click done. And so now we've got this shape. It's a little small at the moment, so if we go to properties, we can increase the maximum size, and I'm probably going to go about there. We can also increase or decrease the preview size. So the preview size is what you see in the brush library. So if we hit done, at the moment it's looking a bit funny. So let's go back in. So we want to toggle on the stamp preview. And let's have a look at that now, and that's way too big. So if we go back in, we can then reduce the size and that looks a bit better. You can actually see it there now, and if you want to rename it, you can go to the About This Brush and go up here and type in a new name. And then hit done. And then let's turn that off and make another layer, select a dark color and then stamp it on the canvas. And then all we need to do is select it, make sure snapping is turned on and increase the size to the edges. And there you have it. You have a fan guide that you can use for many patterns from now on. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Procreate tutorials, I highly recommend you check out this playlist because I have a bunch more for you and we'll be adding more each month. Before you leave, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the weekly videos.